Hi there, folks. I'm your host, Juhi, welcoming you to a brand new episode of Night Files, a show where we look at various unsolved mysteries. While most of the cases we examine fall into the categories of murder or non-murder mysteries, today's case is a little different and blurs the line between the two. This is the mystery of the Ruth Price 911 phone call.
For most of us, a home invasion is one of the most terrifying situations that could happen. The idea of the one place in which you're supposed to feel the most safe and secure being invaded is a worst-case scenario. There are even countless industries targeted at consumers to help prevent such an event from ever happening. Throughout the years, the internet has circulated an audio clip of a 911 phone call by an elderly woman named Ruth Price, which plays on this fear and serves as a cautionary tale for trained dispatchers. During the call, Ruth starts off by giving her name and address before being cut off by an operator asking, "What's the problem, ma'am?" Ruth tells her that there's been a strange guy checking the place out and coming to her door saying he's looking for an apartment. She further identifies herself as an old woman who lives alone. The operator tries getting more info out of her before Ruth suddenly begins frantically screaming and yelling for help, and the call ends with her silence. It's a chilling and disturbing clip, so caution and listening is advised.
Ruth? What's the problem, ma'am? Oh, well, there's some guy been checking the place out. How? Well, he went in the back. I have an apartment in the back, and he said he was looking for a guy. And he comes to my door, and said he's looking for an apartment. So I live alone, and I'm an old lady. Mm-hmm. Where is he now, ma'am? I don't have no idea.
This clip is often posted with a description of the scenario and a statement that Miss Price was beaten to death by an unknown man before police could arrive. It's considered a good example of why 911 dispatchers have to start off by asking, "What is your location?" While this whole call and scenario is deeply disturbing, a major point of discussion is if this call is genuine and if there ever was a Ruth Price who was killed in the first place. First off, one of the biggest reasons people have a hard time believing this call is the very fact that it's difficult to find any reliable info on it. No real news articles have yet been posted on it, which seems odd for a murder this brutal, and which has been used as a supposed example in dispatcher trainings. Ruth Price is a common name, but even scrolling through newspaper archives turns up nothing substantial. The Latin American version of A&E did post a headline about this incident, with a supposed picture of a Ruth Price. Yet doing an image search of this woman turns up someone that died in 2015, years after the call had already been posted. Another common reason some doubt the veracity of this call is that the operator is really not ideal in her whole handling of the situation. She cuts Ruth off and doesn't react when hearing screams. This could also point to insufficient training or a state of shock for the operator. One important note is that Ruth's screams during the call never seem to change volume, even though one can hear the receiver drop. If this happened, it would seem her screams should have sounded further away. Finally, some say that 911 calls in which someone is murdered or dying can't be publicly released. This might vary by state and on a case-by-case basis. Many calls are public, except for portions redacted for personal reasons, such as medical info. But generally, most calls in the US are public record. While looking for info on this call was difficult, there is evidence that this call really is used in genuine training sessions for law enforcement and dispatchers. One can find forum posts from 2002 on a website called officer.com, in which law enforcement officials discuss the call. A user named HNDLC3 even says, "I've heard this one before. This is a tape that has stuck with me these last few years." Additionally, a Reddit user named Ruth Price Info jumped into a thread on the r/Unresolved Mysteries forum to recount their info. They claim to have worked as a 911 dispatcher going back to the 90s, and that this call was played for us as part of a training exercise. His user notes that the call was made in 1988 and was presented as 100% real. The year they gave seems to match up with the grave marker of a Ruth Price found on findagrave.com. Finally, the call hits deep because it just seems so real. The intonations and stumbles of Ruth's speaking voice are very realistic. Her screams carry the notes of sheer terror and have disturbed everyone I've personally played this call for. If it's just voice acting, it's really good voice acting. Enough to make you hope that it's fake. Maybe one day, the truth about the Ruth Price phone call will come to light, and discussion about its authenticity will be put to rest. Perhaps the truth is more evasive, and somewhere between real and fake, such as a summation of similar crimes, or a reenactment with details changed. Either way, the call is highly memorable and plays on our deepest fears, whether that be home invasion or making a mistake that leads to someone's death. What's most important is the lesson from the call for dispatchers around the country, which has hopefully led to faster response times and more lives saved. If there was a real Ruth Price, may she rest in peace.
Well, that's it for this episode, and I hope you've enjoyed learning more about this case with us. We want to hear from you. Was this scenario 100% real, a fake training exercise, or somewhere in between? Comment your opinions down below. For now, take care. This is Night Files, signing off.